Y'all, I'm Glenda Lezeau. I am an author and mental wellness speaker. And today's topic is how to mentally rejuvenate by nourishing your mind, body, and soul. Before we get there, I want you to really be honest with yourself with this question I'm about to ask you. On a scale of 1 to 10, how are you feeling? No, seriously, how are you feeling? Take a moment. Be honest with yourself. How are you feeling? 1 being not so great and 10 being super awesome. And there's no right or wrong answer. It's just about being honest with yourself. You got the number? Okay, great. Second thing, I want you to think what emotion you're feeling in this moment. Just one word. What's one word emotion that's coming up to you right now? Again, be honest with yourself. I'm obviously not going to ask you what it is. I'm not going to question it. This is for you more than it is for me. You have the word. So why am I so interested in making sure that you're tapping in with yourself, that you're aware of what emotions you're feeling? Why is that? Because I wish I did that. I wish I checked in with myself 10 years ago. I wish 15 years ago that I was honest with myself, with how I'm feeling, especially mentally. And unfortunately, it took a full-blown psychotic breakdown and hospitalization in a psychiatric unit for me to finally realize the importance of checking in with myself. Now, we're not going to go ahead and go too deep with my story, but I just wanted to share a little bit of what I've been through, where I've come from, and why it is that I do the work that I do. I want you to learn from my story. I don't want you to be in a situation where you're hospitalized or you're having a mental breakdown for you to realize the importance of checking in with yourself. The beauty about it, though, as much as that was pretty traumatic of an experience, by the way, because I experienced delusions, hallucinations, paranoid thoughts, and I felt like it was all real, even though it was just my mind populating these images and these thoughts and these sounds. While I was hospitalized, I was diagnosed with bipolar. And in that moment, I realized the importance of my mind and I realized the importance of my mental health. So I told myself, I made a pact with myself that I will go on a mental wellness journey and then I will also go on a self-love journey. So I've been on this journey since 2011. And as traumatic as that experience was, and as much as that was not a fun time, I'm so grateful for it. It's so beautiful because I found my purpose because of it. I found my purpose in being able to empower folks like yourself to go on a mental health journey, to go on a mental wellness journey, and to use your mind to activate aspects of your body and soul. So I created a brand called Mentally Rejuvenate, and just listen to the phrase, mentally rejuvenate. Rejuvenating your mind, rejuvenating your mental space. But let's just talk about 3 quick tips that you can do that you can nourish your mind, body, and soul using tools through Mentally Rejuvenate. Number 1, write. For those of you who don't like writing, just trust me on this. Whenever there's something heavy on your mind, whenever you're overwhelmed, pull up a doc on your laptop or go on your phone and just type it out. Type it out as openly as possible. Type, write, whatever suits you. And just release it and be honest with yourself and non-judgmentally just write. And then when you're done, you can read it 1 or 2 more times and then delete it. Completely delete it. Don't fake delete it so you're not looking at it again. And that allows you to fully release and also allows you to process whatever it is that's going on. Number 2, the second thing, heighten your wisdom, your inner wisdom to be more specific. Heighten your inner wisdom and really do self-check-ins. So why is this important? If you don't build a relationship with yourself, how are you going to truly build a healthy, loving relationship with other people? If you don't have a loving relationship with yourself, if you're not able to have a level of self-talk from within, how are you going to know what you need to work on? So if you want to truly nourish your mind, body, and soul, you have to even be aware of what it is that you need to work on in order to work on it and do the work. And so how do you do that? Tap from within. Listen to the voice from within. For some of you, maybe it's meditation. For some of you, maybe it's prayer. For some of you, it could just be just connecting with nature, or just sitting still for a moment and listen to the voice from within. This is something that has completely transformed my whole life. It's not just for mental health, not just for my mind, body, and soul, but completely transformed my life, and just sharing that gem with you. And the last one, number third way for you to nourish your mind, body, and soul through mentally rejuvenate. Move your body in any way possible. Move your body. Notice how I didn't just say exercise. Notice how I didn't just say dance. Just move. Whatever just really suits you, whatever you feel good doing. If you're a 6 a.m. boot camp, great, do that. I will not be joining you, but you can definitely do that. If you're more like you want to just dance in your apartment or your home, do that. Just move your body. Sometimes we have to release, whether it's something mental, whether it's an emotional thing, our emotions, our mind, everything is just stored from within. If you're not releasing it, it just stays stuck. So you want to move your body in any way possible. And with that being said, that's my cue. Didn't share this earlier, but I am the dancing speaker, and we're going to do a little dancing exercise. So if you're in a space where you are able to stand up and get up and dance with me, like, yes, I'm legit going to dance.
So for copyright reasons, I will not be playing the song that I was dancing to, but just wanted y'all to have the moment right now in this moment. Put on your favorite song, put on any song that you want to listen to, and release whatever it is that you want to release. Y'all, the dancing speaker was dancing, okay? Y'all, it's been real. Thanks so much for sharing space with me. I hope that you got something from this, and make sure y'all follow me on Instagram at Glenda Lezeau. Wishing you well.
And welcome to Restoring Resilience in the Black Marriages. I'm Shannon Battle, licensed life-changing transformative therapist. I work with couples in crisis who are experiencing that question of, do we stay together or do we find ways to fix this so we can make this a lasting marriage? I typically work with seasoned couples who have been in marriage for a long time and they've just lost their way. How often do we go through our marriage to realize years down the road that, do I know this person? This person may seem foreign. It may feel like a lot of times we're in a room with a stranger, but yet we sleep with them every night. How does that happen? Well, before we go into that, I want to just highlight some statistics, not to scare you, but to make you aware of what you're going to be exposed to when you are married to a Black person. Black marriages have the highest rate of divorce among all nationalities, and it's trending around, as of 2020, 44%. So that means that out of all the people that you hang with, most of y'all are going to get a divorce, all because that's just how the pattern continuously repeats the cycle in these, say, past 10, 20 years and now going forward. Why is that happening in our families? Why are we seeing a breakdown in Black marriages? It's not because we don't love one another, and it's definitely not because we don't want to be supportive or be with our family. It's because of probably a lot of learned behaviors from our upbringing. If you think about when you grew up, what was it like when you saw your parents deal with conflict? Did you even see them become emotionally intimate with one another? Did you ever see mom cry? Because typically in a lot of Black families, we have this social gender bias with women, and we call it the SBW, the strong Black woman, which means that she wears this cape. She's superhero, super mom. You go to her for everything. She's so super, she doesn't even cry. What is that? Many women who we're looking at who seem like they're at the top of their game, They are crushing it in the business energy, in the business energy. They have great successes, but yet they're failing in their homes miserably. Why is that happening? I don't know if it's because we have this focus of what we need to do to be successful, and those inherent beliefs that if we gain a certain amount of money, if we have a certain type of status, then that will help us feel the value and worth that we are looking to feel accomplished in this life. But with what's happening, it's causing division between the husband and the wife. So when I have couples that come to counseling, typically they've come when the marriage is literally like at the end, and they've experienced ongoing problems for at least 3 years into the marriage. And then so now they're looking at, okay, what do we do to fix this? But they're doing it from a position of hopelessness. And so when you ask them, okay, well, what is it that you want to do to see happen in this relationship? How do you want this to turn around? A lot of them, they just don't even know how to even muster up the courage to say, I still want my marriage, because so much damage has happened throughout the course of the marriage. The relationship has just become strained. There's a lot of trauma that they may have experienced, unresolved hurts, broken hearts, just unhealed wounds. And it seems like things just keep compounding and compounding. And by the time you get here to say, okay, well, what do you want in this marriage? A lot of people just want relief. And the only relief that they've imagined is what? Separation, divorce. And so I want to be able to help bring some encouragement and some knowledge to help give you some tips on how possibly you can take the steps toward divorce proofing your marriage. I know that's a big overarching statement to make, because I've been told by many of my colleagues, like, why do you say that? There is no divorce-proof marriage. But I beg to differ. I believe that when you have two people who concertedly put forth the efforts to try to make the marriage better than what it was, then you can have a divorce-proof marriage. You can have fail-proof systems. You have all of these security policies in place to try to prevent things from happening, with the expectation that you're going to be able to maintain your databases and your systems with the least minimal threat. And so this is what I'm saying. How do you maintain your marriage with the least minimal threat? Because you're going to have a lot of attacks that come against you. A couple of things that I want you to consider is, how do you communicate? And when you think about communication, is it dependent upon how the other person is treating you? So when couples are coming and they're talking about, oh, my spouse doesn't communicate well, if we think about it, how well are you communicating when you have high emotional arousal? Most of the time when we're talking about issues, we begin with the issue, and then what happens? We begin to divert to something else. So the issue of, okay, you forgot to make a deposit into the bank account, and then now we're talking about some financial issues going on. Things start coming up about when you left and went and picked up your mama and didn't call me the time that you were supposed to come pick up the kids, and I had to leave off work early. It starts cycling into a history of things that were never fully addressed. And so when we're talking about how we communicate, what's the heart posture when you're coming to a discussion that is really a conflict that could end in somebody's feelings being hurt if you don't properly prepare on how you're going to position yourself to be a good communicator? To be a good communicator, this is what you need to do. You need to know that I'm listening. I am listening to understand what my spouse is saying. It's hard to listen when you are a person that struggles with insecurity and that you struggle with judgment. You feel like your spouse is pointing fingers at you. And before you can even acknowledge what the spouse is saying, you're already getting defensive about what it is that you need to say to make sure that you're not backed into a corner. So instead of listening, your mind is just going and it's racing, and you're trying to prepare to be able to counterattack instead of effectively listen to understand. So what I would like you to try to do is just pause and know that when your spouse is talking to you, They're trying to convey what it is that they're feeling in the best level of maturity that they have. If you all have been unsuccessful at dealing with challenging issues, how do you think when you start trying this that this is just going to be successful and work and everybody going to walk off feeling all great? It doesn't work like that. It takes practice. It takes time. It takes a lot of help and support. And so what I encourage you to do is learn how to be a good listener. You don't have to respond, and then even allow them to say what they're going to say and then give a pause and don't say anything. Allow them to invite you to respond to what they were saying, but make sure that you're listening. Make sure that you give your undivided attention. And then when you're listening, try to understand, try to become more curious, ask more questions. Questions like, well, what do you mean by that? Because we make these assumptions that we understand what the other person is saying, and oftentimes we don't. What it meant in your household growing up when you shrugged your shoulders might have been, I just don't know. But in my household, that meant I don't care what you're saying. So now my messages from my past are getting mixed in the messages in my present with you. But if we don't talk about how we understand, how we communicate, how our worlds that were so far apart now coming together as one, need to try to stay together, but we got to understand the difference between those worlds and then bring our own perspective into this. Another issue that we have is erroneous thinking patterns. We have people that believe that it's just all or nothing. If it's not black and it's not white, then there's definitely no gray. And we have couples who just don't operate well in the gray because of their personality style. You have people that are very strict, rigid, and they like things performed a certain way. They like to be able to prepare and anticipate outcomes. Where you have other spouses that are like, oh gosh, let's just feel this. Let's just go with the moment. Let's be spontaneous. Nothing wrong with either. You just have to learn how to listen to one another to understand, how do we bring these different personalities to be able to attack the problem and not one another? But you all will be able to have successful outcomes in your marriage if you get the right type of help. I hope this message helps you, and I hope that you dive deeper into understanding how can you build a stronger marriage without it failing and ending in divorce. Follow me at www.shannonbattle.com and sign up for one of my free assessments to see where you are in your relationship. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Dion Scott-Boissard, and I'm the owner and operator of Peace of Mind Mental Wellness Services, where we focus primarily with supporting individuals in moving through generational trauma. You can learn more about me at www.peaceofmindmentalwellness.com. Today, I want to speak to Black women. I want to speak to the Black women who are trapped in cycles of negativity, primarily due to myths or stereotypes about who you are, about the roles you play in society, and the generational norms that bind us to these conditions. My question for you today is, do you know your worth? Do you know that you are worthy? Do you know that your worthiness is determined by you? Today, I want to walk you through a skill that will help you to ground in that worth, that self-worth. And before you leave here today, I'm going to give you 3 tips to sustain and maintain in that worthiness and establishing your crown. Sounds good? All right, let's get started. So first, let's define worth. Worth is defined in the dictionary as sufficient, sufficiently good, important, deserving to be treated or regarded in a special way. Do you know that you are sufficient? And not at some later date when you reach that goal you set for yourself. But you're sufficient right here, right now, with this breath. You're important right now. You deserve to be treated and regarded in a special way right now. You're already enough. There's nothing you need to do to earn this space. You're here, right now. Sufficient, important, good, deserving to be treated and regarded in a special way. So I want to teach you something. I want to show you a skill. And we're going to take those same attributes right here to the heart. And we're going to affirm them with I am. When we add I am to anything we say, we actually teach the body a new language. We teach the body to remember that as a response. And we can use that response at a time when we have a choice and we need to know who we are. So I'm going to invite you hand over heart and to just say these same attributes with me. And we're going to take a breath with it. Okay? So just breathing in, I am sufficient. Take a breath with that. I am important. Take a breath with that. I am good. Take a breath with that. I deserve to be treated and regarded in a special way. Take a breath with that. Can you feel that? If you can feel that, that's love. That is self-love. It will meet you here every time. When you affirm that I am sufficient, I am important, I am good, I deserve to be treated and regarded in a special way, love will meet you right here at the space of worth. And when you know your worth, you start to show up differently. You start to become worthy. You start to do things differently. You start to take care of yourself. You're waking up earlier. You're setting goals for yourself. Maybe you had that goal to join the gym and lose 10 pounds. You lose 6, right? You're nicer. You're kinder. You're not yelling at your children anymore. You're kinder to your partner. That coworker at work that used to get on your nerves, she don't bother you no more. You're living life in the space of abundance. And it feels good. You feel light. But you know what happens in this space because we're human and we're subject to human error and subject to human conditioning? We doubt. We doubt that this space is genuinely for us. And so we question whether this space is really for us. We question if we're worthy. And just like that, we put a cap. We put a limit on our worth. And before you know it, you step back into this box of familiarity where you're not getting up early anymore. That 10 pounds that you had to go for, you put back on 4. You're yelling at your kids. You ain't got time for your partner. That coworker that wasn't getting on your nerves, you can't stand her no more. And you wonder what happened. What happened? You don't know how you got back here when things were going so well. And so there are 2 things that can happen in this space. You can affirm, yep, I knew this wasn't for me. I knew this was too good to be true. And you can stay here. Or you can remember, right? We have new memory now. You can remember, wait, I forgot to take care of myself. I forgot I'm already sufficient. I forgot I'm already important. I forgot I'm good and that I deserve to be treated and regarded in a special way, but not by some external means that validate this self-worth. By you. You have to treat yourself and regard yourself in a special way. And when you recognize that, when you remember who you are, ladies, queens, you have established your crown. And so, what do we do when we have a crown? We can crown ourselves. And we can become the queen of our own narrative. But a queen comes with responsibility. So first, let me tell you what it means to be a queen. A queen is the female ruler of an independent state, especially by the right of birth. Queen, you are the female ruler of this independent state by right of birth. You are responsible for you. And not only are you responsible for you, but you are a co creator of all things. So when we see the world right now, we don't like what we see. It's coming through us, woman. We are birthing, we are co creating the world that we see. And if we want to see a better world, it starts with us. So we have a choice. We can take our crown and we can surrender it and step back into our box of convenience and stay angry and mad at the kids and mad at our coworkers and gain weight. Or we can take our crown and we can place it upon our head. And know this, queen, no one else can crown you, for a queen crowns herself. So with that crown comes responsibility, because a queen does not argue with fools. And a queen is in balance with her emotions. So let me leave you with 3 things that you can do to sustain and maintain space, this queendom. Number 1, I challenge you to leave this space, go to your calendar, push everything out, and create 1 hour each and every day for yourself. 1 hour. I know you're busy, I'm busy, we're all busy, but we've got 24 hours in a day. We can take 1 hour, one for ourselves, 1 hour where we come back home and just remind ourselves who we are, that we are important, that we are sufficient, that we are good, that we do deserve this time to be treated and regarded in a special way. Number 2, repetition is the mother of success. Create routines. Don't just take this hour and go to sleep. You can do that with one of the other 23 hours you got in a day. With this hour, cultivate the space. Remind yourself of your affirmations. Pray, meditate, listen to music, listen to the birds, sip on a cup of tea, take a walk in nature. Cultivate this space every single day. The space will not sustain on its own. You must be present in your life, establishing and cultivating your worth every day. And number 3, find your tribe. Find a group of women out there who know what you're going through, that can hold you accountable when your crown is crooked and say, hey, girl, straighten your crown. And you can do the same for them. All right? So I hope this was useful information. Remember, create an hour in your schedule. Create some routines with that time you've given to yourself, and find your tribe. All right? And with that, I am going to leave you, and I say to you, remember to keep your head high, keep your crown straight, and when you go out into that world, remember to shine. Thank you.
Hello, I am Andrea Janelle, and I am here to talk about empowering minds, overcoming depression and anxiety in the Black community. A little bit about me, I am a life strategist, and I help people come up with solutions to their everyday problems, whether it's related to their career, their business, their relationships, and how to get better results. A lot of it deals with shifting mindsets and shifting their strategy or their approach. And I really help people increase their income by leveraging their skills, talents, and abilities in a different way. So today I will be giving you 7 practical tips and strategies that you can use to help you overcome depression and anxiety. And if this information is helpful, I just ask that you would share these 7 tips with your family, friends, and loved ones. Because as the Black community, a lot of times we have this stigma around mental health and mental wellness, and we'll struggle with things that we don't have to struggle with. There are solutions, there is help available. So let's dive right in. For many years, I struggled with depression and anxiety, and I didn't even know that's what I was dealing with and struggling with until someone identified it. Once they identified it, I was then able to take proactive steps to overcome it and to help myself get through it. And so today I want to share those 7 tips that I found useful when I was going through my success journey of overcoming depression and anxiety. So the first step is to be open to therapy. Again, as a community, we'll shun people going to therapy, or I don't want people in my business, or I don't want to share this part of me, when in reality, it keeps us stuck and it keeps us from progressing forward. So knowing that it's okay to get therapy, it's okay to go to therapy, we celebrate and embrace that, and recognizing that if someone can help you through what you're going through by giving you strategies or tips or talking through it, then be open to sharing your most vulnerable parts so that you can get the help that you need. When I was going through therapy, way number 2 is medicine as well. And so they recommended me taking medicine for depression and for anxiety. And in the most difficult times of my life, that's what helped me get through each day. And, I always had this thought around taking medicine and being weak and all these different things, and none of that's true. So it takes courage to actually help yourself when you know that you're in a vulnerable state, or when you know that you're not your normal self. And so I was open to it, and I took medicine for many years. And then at some point, I got to the point where I was improving and getting better, and I was able to wean myself off of it. And my body actually started rejecting the medicine. And so know that it's temporary. Sometimes it may be longer term and more permanent. But if it's helping you get through your day, if it's helping you wake up with more energy, if it's helping you deal with your problems, then be open to medicine as prescribed by a psychiatrist as an option. Number 3, surrounding yourself with a community of people who care. So again, during my journey, I was in a point where I had to have power of attorney, and my family stepped in to help me with my kids because I was really struggling even just waking up every day. And so surrounding yourself with either family or friends who care about you, excuse me, a community of people such as my church family. I got connected with a strong church, and they were able to nurture me in my mental wellness journey as well. As part of that, one scripture that really helped me deal with my anxiety and depression is Isaiah 54, because it promises a perpetual covenant of peace. And so I read that scripture every day, multiple times throughout the day, just to remind myself of the life that God desires for us to live, and to give me some type of scriptural foundation to stand upon as I was going through this healing journey. Okay, tip number 4 is to do affirmations. So writing down affirmations, positive affirmations, affirming who you are, affirming things that, areas that you know that you need work in that would help you overcome what you're currently experiencing. So whether it's I am loved, I am worthy, I am enough, whatever that affirmation is that speaks to your spirit and speaks to your mind, that you can read and write every day. I had Post-it notes on my bathroom mirror. I had them posted around the walls of my house, just to remind myself, periodically throughout the day as I'm looking around and doing my day-to-day tasks, of who I am, and, affirming those truths about myself. Okay, tip number 5, journaling. So really sitting down, taking the time to sit down and write out what it is you're feeling. What are you experiencing? Dealing with those hard truths. So what type of things do we need to heal from? What things are we telling ourselves that maybe aren't true? And being willing to be honest, knowing that It's not shared with anyone, knowing that no one else will see it, but truly getting out all of those internal feelings and thoughts that we're having. Number 6 is disconnecting. So being willing to disconnect from people, places, things that no longer serve you, whether it's a toxic relationship, whether it's a toxic work environment, whether it's a group of friends that tear you down unintentionally, but being willing to disconnect from those things that are keeping you in a state of depression and anxiety, even if it's family members. I've gone through different stages where I've had to set boundaries and disconnect myself from things that were either making me internally depressed or anxious. And it's okay. It doesn't matter what type of relationship it is, knowing that your health matters and you are the priority. And tip number 7 is reading. So again, finding something positive that you can read and pour into your mind, whether it's scripture, whether it's a positive book, whether it's being part of a community of positive, like-minded people that are willing to encourage you along your healing journey, but really finding things that you can reprogram your mind with by pouring, positivity into it, whether it's through reading, audio, visual, whatever it is. So those are my 7 tips for empowering minds and overcoming depression and anxiety in the Black community. And I would like to invite you to download my free 5 journal prompts to help you shift your mindset. So these prompts are designed to give you some of that positivity that you can write down and then read on a daily basis. And the link will be provided.
Are you ready to share your message with the world? Introducing PitchDB, the all-in-one platform revolutionizing the way speakers connect with podcasts, conferences, and media outlets. With access to over 3 million platforms, finding your perfect speaking opportunity has never been easier. Our AI integrations create personalized bios and pitches, setting you apart from the crowd. Join the movement of speakers taking the world stage today. Join now at pitchdb.com.
Are you mastering conflicts? Are you sure? I'm Kenya Matwire, relationship coach of Kenya's Keepsake, and I help individuals unlearn and relearn dynamics in relationships. Now, this presentation, whether you're in personal relationships, school, or the workplace, conflicts are inevitable, but how we handle them can make a significant difference in the outcomes. So, by mastering effective conflict resolution strategies, you will cultivate healthier relationships, enhance personal growth, and develop confidence when facing life's challenges. Because again, what? Conflicts are inevitable. What is your conflict resolution style? Grab a pen and paper. When faced with conflict, what is your initial response? Is it A, I will try to find a solution that benefits everyone involved and promotes teamwork? Is it B, I assert my own needs and goals, standing up for myself and my beliefs? Is it C, I avoid addressing the conflict and hope it resolves itself without any confrontation? D, I prioritize maintaining harmony and accommodating other needs to keep the peace? Or do you E, seek a middle ground through compromise, a mutual agreement, and consider everyone's perspective? Which one is it? Write it down. Let's do 2 more. How do you typically handle disagreements with friends or family? Do you A, listen to everyone's concerns, work together and find a solution that respects everyone's feelings? Do you B, stand your ground and argue your point until others sees your way? C, you try to ignore the issue and avoid confrontation to prevent any tension? How about D, You prioritize keeping the peace and avoiding conflict, even if it means sacrificing your own desires. What about E? You try to negotiate and find a solution that satisfies everyone involved, considering everyone's needs. A, B, C, D, or E? Come on, let's do one more. In a group setting, how do you contribute to resolving conflicts? Do you A, facilitate discussions and encourage open communication to find solutions that works for everyone? Do you B, take charge and make decisions to resolve the conflict quickly and decisively? Do you C, try to stay out of conflicts altogether and avoid getting involved? How about D, try to keep the peace and prevent conflicts from escalating by calm intentions and mediating disputes? What about E? Do you act as the mediator between the conflicts, helping them find a common ground? Which one is it? Now, count the number. We did 3. Count the number of selected ones, and whichever one you have the most of, circle it, highlight it, A, B, C, or D. And there are 5. All right, now that was only a few, but A, collaborative style, B, competitive style, C, avoiding style, D, accommodating style, and E, the compromising style. Which one did you have most of? Now, that was only a few, but after watching this presentation, I am offering you a full assessment and a free 5-day Mastering Conflict Resolution Challenge. So, let's get into it. Now, what is conflict resolution? Conflict resolution is needed to maintain positive relationships and personal growth. Now, constructive conflict resolution creates healthier relationships by promoting open and effective communication, mutual respect, and trust. It also provides an opportunity to address conflicts in a way that encourages growth, understanding, mutual support, and respect. By being aware of conflict resolution, you can clarify any misunderstandings, express your needs, and work towards any mutual satisfying solutions to strengthen any of your relationships. Now, let's get into the first one, the assertive and direct style. This style is when you're standing on business. Individuals that have the assertive and direct conflict resolution style confronts disagreements head on. They express their viewpoints clearly and openly, aiming to address the issue directly. They value honest communication and prioritize finding a solution over avoiding the conflict. Now, this style can lead to efficient conflict, but individuals should be cautious not to come off as aggressive or dismissive of the other's perspective. Think about it. How can you balance assertiveness with considering the needs and perspective of others in conflict? Let's go to the second one. The avoidance and accommodation style. Those who tend to avoid or accommodate conflicts take a more passive approach. They may prefer to sidestep agreements altogether and just forget about it to maintain the peace. Now, while this may maintain the peace temporarily, it will cause resentment over time, which is why it is important for individuals to use this style and recognize the value of addressing conflicts and finding a balanced resolution. Think about the potential consequences of consistently avoiding conflicts in relationships. Let's go to the next one. The compromise-seeking style. Compromise seekers aim to find a middle ground when conflicts arise. They're willing to give up some of their preferences in order to reach an agreement that satisfies both parties. Now, this style promotes a sense of fairness and cooperation, but individuals should ensure that compromises that they make are not consistently one-sided. How often do you go straight to compromising when resolving conflicts? It's natural. We do it. Yes, we do it. So let's see what the next one is. The collaborative approach. Now, the collaborative approach is when you're working together to find a creative solution that meets both of the needs of the individuals that are involved in this conflict. This approach requires open communication and a willingness to explore various options. Collaboration can lead to a stronger relationship and an innovative problem solving within the relationship, but it requires time and effort from both parties in this style. Have you ever collaborated with others to resolve a conflict and noticed a change in how you communicate and interact with people afterward? Think about it. Let's get to the fifth one and the last one. The competitive win-lose style. Now, individuals that have the competitive conflict resolution style, they prioritize their needs over anyone else's. They might use tactics, manipulations, anything to assert their viewpoint and win that conflict. Now, while this approach can result in a quick resolution, it can also damage relationships and create a sense of hostility. Individuals should be mindful of this long-term consequence if their style is competitive and it is going to be turmoil consistently. Can you think of a time when you had to balance meeting other needs while standing up for yourself during a conflict? Think about it. Those were the 5. What is the most effective style? Grab your pen and paper again. Did you pick the collaborative approach? If you did, you were correct. If not, it's okay. Now, the collaborative approach is considered the most effective because it involves actively working together to find mutual and beneficial outcomes in conflicts, seeking win-win solutions where both parties' needs are met and relationships are strengthened, because that is the goal here, right? Right. Establish boundaries to communicate your needs, preferences, and limits on relationships. Establish clear boundaries to communicate your needs, preferences, and limits in relationships. Boundaries help prevent misunderstandings and conflicts by defining acceptable behaviors and respecting personal space. Regularly reflect on your conflict resolution strategies that we just went through and their effectiveness. Be open to feedback and willing to adjust your approach as needed to improve communication in relationships. We just went over the 5 conflict resolution styles. I hope you have a little more insight on what yours is. This was a short overview, but we can get into a bigger overview when you take your assessment and when you take your 5-day challenge.
Oh, I Michael win. That's right. All I want to do is win. I wake up winning. I glide through the afternoon winning. I even go to bed winning. Not because my name is Michael Wynn, it's because I have the authority. You see, positivity is my power. I visualize in faith. I tell the truth, especially to myself. I learn something new every day. Success is my duty. Impact is my motivation. And kindness is my character. I'm a habit success strategist, financial expert, and authenticity coach, but I had not always felt that way. You see, winning takes a lot. But 20 years ago, I was far from being a winner. I suffered from a bipolar depression disorder, and I was a mess. I neglected my health. I didn't listen to my doctors, and I verbally abused my family. Yeah, I had a failed marriage and I bankrupted 2 businesses. I had 3 children, 2 sons and a daughter. And my sons, every time they heard or seen me, they said I was this green monster that character Hulk and scream and yell just to ask them for simple things. And of course, in my manic state, I wanted forgiveness, but it always did not come because of the way I handled things. But my baby girl, that little 8-year-old who was an aspiring doctor, she stuck by my side. I had situations that I avoided when I was first diagnosed with a bipolar depression disorder. As a man, I hid from that. I had a profession that I didn't want anyone to know that I had a problem. That's right, I put my mask on and went to work, even though the medication, lithium, Prozac, and Depakote made me feel like a zombie sometimes, crazed out. But I had to move forward. But all I was doing was hurting myself, not getting the medical attention or following the instructions that I was given. Until one morning, I got up to go to work to set up for a meeting early in my role as the state auditor in charge of the first casino that was being built in Detroit. And as I sat at my desk, my heart started to race. I started to sweat. My breathing was weird and I passed out. I was just lucky that somebody was there to get medical attention for me. And as I was being carried out on that stretcher, I felt hopeless. I felt like I lost control. I felt like I needed to fix something, especially for my baby girl. And you know, it came to a point where I had to feel like I had to fall in line. I went back to my sessions. My therapist, an awesome therapist, greeted me with open arms as if I never left. During one of the sessions, she drew for me habits. She said, you have unique habits. At that time, I had 2 financial certifications and I was a licensed builder. She said, you need to try habits for your self-care. And I said, oh, wow. She said, I want you to do 3 things. I want you to first focus on positive daily affirmations. Make it a habit to speak to who you are every day. And then I want you to write in a gratitude journal, morning, afternoon, and night, of how you feel, how you actually live to that affirmation that you spoke to in the morning. I said, yes, I can do that. She said, then number 2, I want you to create a positive environment for you where you can pray, meditate, read, think in this environment, and do not let nothing negative interfere. I said, yes. I read this book, this great book by Les Brown, Up Thoughts for Down Times. I read 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Dr. Stephen Covey, and I read the Bible over and over. And I'm ready. She said, yes, but I still need you to do one more thing. I need you to challenge your negative thoughts in people around you. And I said, wow, that is a challenge. That time working in the casino, all I can expect is negative people coming up to me complaining about the structure of the casinos, moving the machines around, losing money, and all this chaos. But I took that challenge on to turn those situations around, listen, and effectively become their friend. And I said, wow, this habit stuff is really working. As I kept creating different habits, I created this habit matrix because you see, a habit is a goal to set. And the goal was the results that I wanted to achieve. But this system, I came up with a habit matrix system, was going to be the process that lead me to the results that I wanted to achieve. So over and over, I created situations with a habit matrix. I stacked habits to learn how to build better relationships with my habit matrix. I learned how to rebound my businesses to the plus side. I learned how to build better love relationships. I met my second wife, my love of my life, Joyce, with my habit matrix. I even got off of that medication within 6 years. I said bye to that lithium, Prozac, and Depakote. But as I started to take my happy dance, my victory dance, I remember this quote by Maya Angelou. She said, once the healing takes place, go out and help somebody else. I thought of 3 areas as a financial expert, authenticity coach. I felt obligated, number 1, to help people with financial literacy. I was writing my second book, The Habit Effect, Your Life, Your Money. And I used the outline to help individuals see focus of being better. Because by the way, America's only 57% financially literate. And I wanted to be there, finding solace to help others. They didn't know I was healing, but I wanted them to get a feel for valuing good habits for financial stability, thinking about breaking even over and over again before financial freedom. This was a process of a habit loop, a clue, a routine, and a reward over and over again. Not just focus on financial stability, but understanding banking, budgeting, debt responsibility, generational wealth, investment, saving, everything that came under that umbrella of financial literacy. I had to. And I celebrated their small wins and tiny breakthroughs. I saw men becoming leaders in their family. But it didn't end because she said, go out and help somebody else. As I thought about in another area, men that I connected with, former football players, you see, over 6 million men each year are depressed, found to be depressed. And Americans are spending over $300 billion for stress-related issues with their companies. So I had men on the phone. I did the 3-way calling before Zoom. And I can feel and hear in their voice their emotions. And asking me how am I so transparent and authentic through this process, and I only share with them that my interaction with habitual healing was an opening gateway for me to continually create habits. And as those men committed to doing better, all I needed to do was get 2 or 3 to buy into what I was saying, and they did. In the other areas, education, I wanted to help young people to be authentic, to grow into learning how they can become better people. I was fortunate in that process to see my daughter grow in her habits. That little daughter of mine, that 8-year inspiring doctor, she became a doctor at 28 years old. But she spent 11 years at the University of Michigan, a great university. She did a 5-year study, her undergraduate in brain and cognitive studies. She did 2-year master program in public health in her 4-year at medical school before going to Morehouse Medical to do her residency. But she became a doctor at 28, and she is currently a board certified OBGYN. And you see, she and I both believe, as Aristotle said, we are what we repeatedly do. Then excellent is not an act, but a habit. You see, I want to help you grow. I help leaders, business teams, and organizations with winning strategies through repetition and growth development. I can be reached at michaelwinn.com, that's WINN, or coachwinn, WIN.com, or on Instagram, Mike Winn Habits. It's been a pleasure to talk to you, but I want to remind you that your habits will determine your level of success. Thank you.
I'd almost turned 40 years old and had the whole world in front of me. It was 2018, and I thought it was going to be a big year. Beautiful wife, beautiful kids, good job, good home, and somehow things came falling apart. Now imagine for a second you decided to take a nap for the day, only to wake up to have your heart rate go from 60 beats per minute to 140 without any explanation. You have a huge adrenaline rush, feel like you're in a dream world. It feels like an elephant is standing on your chest, and it feels like your throat is tightened up. Well, this was me 6 years ago in 2018, and I thought I was having a heart attack. Hi, my name is Darius Fennell. I am the face behind Beyond Anxiety. I am a mental health and therapy advocate. I'm a published author, coach, and speaker, and it is my mission to dismantle the stigmas that prevent people from getting the help that they need and going to therapy. I want to share with you my journey of what I thought was the beginning of the end was actually the beginning of a long, hard recovery from debilitating anxiety, panic disorder, and depression. After being in the hospital for a whole week and running a wide variety of tests, it came back with absolutely nothing. Every test came back negative, and I was puzzled as to what was going on with me, and still at the time, not equating anything to mental health or anxiety. I thought there was something wrong with my heart, but all the tests, even for that, came back negative. This was truly a painful experience. I was sent home being told to follow up my primary care physician and given no other information. I left the hospital the exact same way that I came in. And from the time I wake up was into an anxiety attack or panic attack, and that would last all day until the time I went to sleep. And this went on for several months. I felt stuck, I felt hopeless. I did not know what to do. And this is what has inspired me in my journey today to tell my story, because now that I'm on the other side of it, what would I say to that person, that version of me that was sent home and did not know what next steps to take? So I'm going to take you through the journey of navigating through anxiety recovery and 3 steps that you need to do in order for that to be successful. So just as a disclaimer, I'm not a licensed professional. The information that I'm sharing with you today is for informational purposes only. It's not intended to prescribe, cure, diagnose, or treat any type of mental or physical illness. If you have a serious condition going on, dial 911 or go see your primary health care practitioner. So I'm going to talk about 3 steps necessary to navigate your anxiety recovery. The first one is awareness. You need to know what exactly you're dealing with. What is the root of it? In order to do that, the number one thing that I recommend that you get is a journal. You have to be able to write down the things that you are feeling, the symptoms that you may be encountering, and you're going to use that to go see a primary care physician and tell them everything that you've been going through. The more descriptive you are, the better your diagnosis is going to be, as well as your prognosis. It'll help to rule out other things and keep you from doing any guesswork and going online and trying to figure things out on your own, which, if you're wrong, can be very dangerous. The second thing you need is equipping. You need to be equipped to understand the basics of the nervous system, as well as how to find a therapist. When it comes to the nervous system, there's a such thing called the autonomic nervous system, which is broken into 2 major branches, which is the parasympathetic nervous system, which is rest and digest, and sympathetic nervous system, which is fight or flight. For anxiety and other panic disorders, most of the time we end up being stuck in the sympathetic mode. But there's also this thing called the vagus nerve, which is the communication channel that goes from the base of your lower abdomen area all the way up to the brain and communicates both signals from parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system. There are ways that you can help to stimulate one versus the other. I highly recommend that you work with your therapist to figure out what types of tools and things work for you, but you at least need to have the basic understanding of what those are and how those work. Speaking of a therapist, there are a bunch of different tools that you can use out there that'll help you locate and find your therapist. There's Therapy Den, there's Alma, there's a bunch of different ones. But there are 3 main things you want to consider for finding a therapist. One is location, the other is specialty, and the third is insurance. There may also be some important factors for finding a therapist, such as the gender, religious background, and years of experience. But you have to determine yourself which one of those factors is most important to help you narrow down and find your therapist. Also recommend also using your journal here to capture the most persistent things that you've been dealing with, the different types of circumstances that you've encountered that may have had an impact on your life, and use those things to be able to articulate to your potential therapist in what's called a consultation. Consultation is usually about 15 minutes. It gives you a chance to kind of get a vibe and the communication style of your potential therapist. And it kind of buys you time to say, you know what, I'm going to continue looking, or no, I found a good match. I'd like to work with this person. And then you and your therapist will go from there and setting up times and any other paperwork that you need to sign, and then start the therapy sessions. And this brings us to our third step, which is execution. You found a therapist, you started your therapy sessions, you've ruled out any physical things with your primary care physician, but now you need a way to track your progress. And this is where you're going to work with, again, both your PCP and therapist, whatever they've given you to navigate your journey, you still need a way to track that. And that's where you develop your action plan and you come up with a toolkit, a resource of things that you're going to use when certain situations happen. You come into a point where you're having an anxiety attack or you're feeling anxious or you're feeling depressed. Here are the tools that you worked out with your therapist or your doctor that you're going to use. How often did you use it? What's working? What type of feedback are you going to give to your therapist or your PCP? That will all be captured within your journal. And so just remember that where you are in this journey did not happen overnight. And it's not going to be fixed overnight either. Be patient with yourself, compassionate to yourself, patient with the process, and celebrate all your wins. That's another thing that you also want to capture in your journal, because the mind tends to lead towards being negative, and you have proof, written proof, and a timeline of things that you've done that has shown your progress since the time that you maybe had your episode or decided to come and get help. And I promise you, if you are ready to do the work and are doing the work, you will rediscover joy, peace, and confidence again, like I did. It did not happen overnight, but I utilized my resources. I gave feedback to my doctor. I talked with my therapist and opened up as much as I could to get free and identify the things that I was dealing with. It takes courage to do that. You're not weak, lazy, or crazy if you reach out for help or you decide to go to therapy. Matter of fact, it takes courage to do that. Lots of courage, because you're going to deal with some things that are very uncomfortable. And you have to learn, like I did the hard way, that discomfort is actually your friend and a pre and co-requisite for finding your freedom. So now we have to ask the question and be honest. Are you struggling today? Do you know that you need help and you're fighting with how you're going to be perceived if you go to therapy? Well, I want to challenge you today to consider yourself worthy of getting the help that you need and not worrying about those who may think that you're crazy, lazy, or weak or inadequate. The thing is, we all go through hard times and hard situations, and sometimes your willpower is not enough. Matter of fact, a lot of times it's the reason why you got there in the first place. Neglecting self-care and other things, just trying to survive. And there's nothing wrong with that until you start to recognize that that is no longer a sustainable way to live. So I encourage you today, go see your doctor, get your workup, get your annual done, get your blood work. If you need to see a specialist, have that conversation with your doctor. Advocate for yourself. Get the help that you need. And I promise you will never regret it. It's going to be hard work, but you are worth it, and the people around you will benefit from it as well. And you'll have a story to tell, just like I am right now. So if this message has resonated with you, then it is time to take action. It is time to advocate for yourself. What you can do is follow me on Instagram and TikTok at beyond.anxiety_. And also I'm offering a free masterclass. You have to sign up on my website, which is beyond-anxiety.com, and sign up for my email list. And those who are on the email list will be sent a link to go and partner with me and take the journey of beginning your recovery journey. So, and the first 3 people to sign up will receive a free copy of my book, Leaving Jupiter, Navigating Your Anxiety Recovery. And so that is my offer to you. Thank you for listening. Again, my name is Darius Fennell from Beyond Anxiety, and take the journey. It's time, and it's your time, and you're so worth it. Take care.
There are three kinds of people: those that make things happen, those that watch things happen, and those who wondered what happened. I am a person that makes positive things happen, and I know that you are too. Well, as a positive, powerful, and purposeful message for you, again, facing the future with a new focus. Facing your future with a new focus. And what I have learned, the best way to predict your future is to create it. And so I want to challenge you to take a chance, take charge, and take control of your life. Because we are being bombarded with information, but we are starving for knowledge. So I want to challenge you. This is your time and this is your turn. This is the decade for the doers. To have that mental toughness that are necessary, because tough times never last, but tough people do. And what I want to share with you for a few moments, I want to take at the mental toughness. We are possessed with two minds. We have a conscious mind, and then we have a subconscious mind. The conscious mind gather in the information, but the conscious mind control. When you talk about a submarine goes under the water. A subway goes under the street. So the subconscious mind, sometimes you would think about what you can't do, what you can't be, and what you can't have. Nobody in my family ever did that, never wrote a book, never went to college, never on their own businesses. And so what I want to encourage you to have that mental toughness, and that my prayer for you is in 3 John, a biblical principle, that I pray that you all will prosper and be in health, even as your soul also prosper. But it starts with a checkup from the neck up. The scripture said, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Bonus from Jonas, move away from change to transformation, because change is temporary, but transformation is permanent. I don't care how many legs a caterpillar has. I don't know how fast it can run. It can never fly until the caterpillar must die in order for the butterfly to fly. And so now you got to stop crawling, stop meandering, and take a chance, take charge, and take control of your life to live your dreams, to live your goals, and to live your aspiration. And so what I want to share with you, some thoughts on how you get that mind that's really, really tight. First of all, attitude. You have the attitude of what you can do, what's get a larger vision of yourself. Because if you want to be more, you have to first see more. You have the attitude that, yes, I can. Yes, I will. I got to do it. This is my time, and this is my turn. This is the decade for the doers. You heard about psychology. You heard about sociology. Well, I have another big word for you. It's duology. Get it done right now. That's the first A in attitude. And then the second A is attribute. All of you have achieved a lot of great things. Congratulations. You don't need this much. You just need this much. Inch by inch, it's a cinch. Yard by yard, it's hard. Keep on inching. Someone said, Dr. Gasson, how do you eat an elephant? Well, I'm not in elephant eating, but one bite at a time. Continue to develop yourself. Continue to grow. Continue to work harder on yourself. Because as an African proverb said, there's no enemy within. The enemy without can do you no harm. So it's not external in, but it's internal out. You have a dream and you're pregnant with possibility. And let me tell you something, your future is not out there. Your future is trapped inside of you. Bonus from Jonas, you are pregnant with possibility. Don't abort your dream. birth your dream. So not only you have to have a positive, yes, I can attitude, and then continue to work on yourself to get the attributes, and then you get the aptitude. Continue to educate, the Latin word lead, and to draw out the greatness that are laying dormant in you. Allow it to bud, to bloom, and to blossom into a bright and beautiful future. So that attribute, that's why you know read the books. That's why you build around you positive, powerful, and purposeful people. That's why you got a masterclass. That's why you got a coach. That's why you got a mentor to continue to help you to work harder on yourself, because there's a gift in you, and it's time now for you to deliver that gift. And the fourth A is altitude. How to fly. I wrote a book like How to Fly Like an Eagle with Wings Like a Wind. This is your time to soar in 2024. This is your time to get more in 2024. So you want to continue to work on your mind. And because there's a Negro college I love a lot of that a mind is a terrible thing to wait. So that deals with how do you think? How do you think? I'm going to spell out the word think in acrostic. And you know how to spell it, THIN, So first of all, in think, you want to think of the things that are positive, that are powerful, that's going to help you. That comes with we've been bombarded with information that I said. Some studies say we have about 60,000 different thoughts that we have per day. The sad thing is the same thoughts that we had the day before and the day before that. It's your time to get it. The scripture says, I want to do a new thing in you. So the T in think is to think positive. Think, yes, I can. The H, help somebody and help yourself. The only time you should look down on another human being if you're looking down to help that person up. Come on, somebody. And then the I, and you want to be intentional. You want to focus on the positive and give people hope. And when you spell out the word hope, having only positive expectation for you. Yes, I'm talking about you. Zoom in on this. Yeah, get on the Facebook. Get your face in the book. This is your time and this is your turn. Yes, I'm talking to you. Intentionally. Have your dreams intentionally. Work on yourself intentionally. And then the N in think is do what is necessary. Do what's necessary to get you to the next level. Stop drifting and start shifting. Shift your life to a new gear. So get out of neutral. Get out of park. This is your time and this is your turn. So it's necessary. And then the last K is to be kind. Be kind to somebody. Everybody is hurting. We all have hurts, habits, and hang-ups. I stopped by today, as many of us as speaker, to give you H, number 4. Healing. It's the healing time. And so, yes, facing your future with a new focus, you have to predict it. You have to create it and make it the way that you want to do. And then again, as I mentioned, you have the attitude, and then you have the attributes, and then you have the aptitude, and then you have the altitude, to fly higher. So the T again is to think big, and the H is help somebody, and then the I, intentionally do your dream, live your dream, and then the N, do what's necessary, and then the K is to be kind to someone. This is Dr. Jonas Gatson, known as Mr. Enthusiastic, President and CEO of Partners for Purposeful Living. We specialize in public speaking and also in communication. My motto is, since greatness is possible, excellence is not enough. Go for greatness. Go for greatness. Go for greatness.
Meet PitchDB, the ultimate platform for speakers looking to make their mark on podcasts, conferences, and media outlets. PitchDB provides access to over 3 million platforms, ensuring you find the perfect avenue for your message. With AI integrations, your bios and pitches are tailored uniquely to each opportunity, giving you the edge you need. Join now at pitchdb.com.
My name is Cynthia Isaac, and I am your mentor, your guide, your sacred space holder, and your transformation coach. For almost 10 years, I worked in the coaching industry, working mostly with widowed people, helping them to heal from heartache, grief, anxiety, and loneliness, so they can then create a future that is filled with unlimited possibilities. Prior to becoming a coach, I worked in the corporate environment for over 20 years in information technology in various positions such as trainer, quality assurance, and software analysis. Currently, I work with BIPOCs, Black, Indigenous people of color, but specifically Black women. Now, I've been commissioned by the divine to serve and support you. For some, that may mean just helping you to get to the next step. For others, it may mean to walk along beside you and help you move safely from where you are now to where you would like to be, to help you get the results that you're looking for. My promise to you is that I will encourage, educate, equip, and empower you to be you, your own unique person. Now, time is limited, so I'm going to ask that you stop what you're doing, look at your life, listen with your heart, and feel if anything that I'm saying resonates with you. I do have a gift that's valued at $500, and the gift itself will change the course of your life, and it will positively impact everyone that you come into contact with. I'll share more about that gift a little later on. But right now, let's talk about my topic. It is Know Thyself. You are a divine human being. The first question I have is, who are you? That's right. You are that divine human being. That means that you are 100% human and 100% divine. It means that you are made in the image and likeness of God. And, I say God, some say divine, creator, universe, spirit, source, the all, Gaia, the supreme being. It doesn't matter, what you call God or who your God is. That's up to you. That's strictly, completely, up to you. You decide who your God is, okay? You also carry the same DNA as God. You have that treasure hidden on the inside of you in this earthen vessel. And no matter who you are, if you're listening to this right now, if you are inhaling through your nose and exhaling through your mouth, then you're alive, you're living, you're here, and you qualify as a divine human being. Now, where did you come from? You came from God and a woman. I know the scripture says, I know you before you were in your mother's womb, and that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. It is your birthright to live an abundant life. That is your birthright. And we will work together to see that you get all that God has planned for you. So why are you here? You have a divine plan and purpose for your life. And it's you, not some imaginary supreme power, but it's you that's responsible to get your destiny. Again, we can work together, and I will help you discover your divine plan and purpose. Now, know that you have been lied to. You've been misrepresented by derogatory and inaccurate narratives, mostly written by whites and distributed to the masses via the media. Those lies have been told for centuries to keep you in line, imprisoned, enslaved, controlled, ruled by conformity, suffering in poverty, and accepting less than you deserve. It is time to tell the truth. It is time the truth be told. And we want to rewrite our own narrative. It's time to take that mask off, break out of that imprisonment, get out of slavery, out of conformity, and into freedom and liberation. That's what we're doing. This journey is going to be safe, gentle, and loving. Yet it is powerful, sometimes explosive, very expressive, and mostly extraordinary. If you happen to be a mental health practitioner, or if you work in a mental health center, let's discuss how we might get together and collaborate our efforts. As I stated in the beginning, our time here is limited, and we haven't even scratched the surface. There is so much more. And if you like what you've heard so far, I would like to connect with you. I invite you to join our Facebook community, Divine Human Beings page. It is our home for the collective BIPOC truth seekers that are coming together in community to connect, collaborate, and create a movement to lead humanity with love. It is also the place where you can grab your free gifts. One gift is the Sacred Soul Sisters session, and the other gift is the self-love meditation. And know when you sign up, you will also receive my new book that's coming out. It's my first book. It is The Mastery of the Mind, The Pathway to Empowerment. And my chapter is Divine Human Beings, Master Your Mind and Create Your Reality. We're going to launch that book on May the 1st to the 3rd. And if you'd like to connect with me, my email is Cynthia, Cynthia, Isaac, ISAAC 53 @gmail.com. Cynthia Isaac 53 @gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Remember, you are a miracle. You are a divine human being, and you were created to do miraculous things. I look forward to connecting with you soon. God bless you.
Hello, welcome to Fostering Mental Wellness, Strategies for a Healthier Workplace. I am Omar L. Harris, originally from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, born in June, a proud Florida A&M alumnus who spent 20 plus years in the global pharmaceutical industry, leading teams and organizations all around the world from the US to the Middle East, to Southeast Asia, to Latin America. And today I'm a consultant, speaker, trainer, coach, author, founder, and screenwriter who would describe myself as an optimist, change catalyst, and innovator. Today we're talking about mental wellness, and the topics we're going to be going through in today's presentation are all about the fact that wellness is a right that companies need to protect for employees. Wellness must be individualized for it to be truly impactful. Wellness must be normed so that organizations and people can understand what to expect every day when they're working within the ecosystem of the organization. And then we'll end with some final tips and takeaways. So this is me at age 29, looking like the picture of health. The truth is, behind the scenes, my mental well-being was not good at all during this period of my life. I was under tremendous pressure in the job that I was doing. And actually, I was having panic attacks on a pretty regular basis, going to the hospital, getting diagnosed with anxiety and acid reflux disorders. And all in all, I was not a healthy individual at this point in my life because my ambition and my desire to succeed took precedent over my emphasis on my own well-being in my life at that time. And I had to learn a powerful lesson that if I don't take care of myself, my personal well-being, then how can I take care of the well-being of those in my charge? And this is really kind of the theme of this presentation. So the data states, if you look at what Gallup has been studying over the last 10 years or so, from 2007 all the way to 2023, is that only 20% of US employees are extremely satisfied with their place of work. That's a very low amount of satisfaction happening in organizations and companies today. And when you look at two other elements of stress and worry being the top contributors of negative emotions that lead to 1 in 4 employees feeling burnt out on a regular basis. And so, a lot of people were experiencing what I was experiencing as a 29-year-old employee, the stress and this worry that eats at you and leads ultimately to burnout. And so when you're burnt out, you cannot bring your best to the work. And when a manager is burnt out, it's even worse because then you're not able to bring your best to your people that are depending on you to deliver for them. So for that reason, when I say wellness is a right, that's what I'm talking about. Everyone deserves to work in places that truly care for their well-being and their wellness and truly have the opportunity to thrive in these environments. This is a right, it's not a privilege. But the reason why we see so much toxicity and some of these numbers that I showed you earlier in the Gallup data is because of the standard hierarchy of business that reinforces scarcity, ego, power, privilege, toxicity, and greed. It's time for a new idea. It's time for a better way of engaging people. And that better way is called servant leadership because it transforms productivity and engagement. So one of the key things that you need to have in place in order to be enhancing wellness in the workforce is around fostering a culture of servant leadership within your organization, because servant leaders reinforce service, support, engagement, understanding, and agility. And that's fundamentally the way that modern employees want to be engaged at work. But in order for wellness to truly take root, it has to be individualized. No two people are exactly the same when it comes to what they need to feel well-being and to feel really in a good place as it comes to the workplace. And so there are 5 elements of wellness that Gallup has determined are career, social, financial, physical, and community wellness. So career is liking what you do every day. Social is having meaningful friendships. Financial is making sure that you're working to live, not living to work. Physical is about having the energy and the capacity to get your work done. And community is liking where you live, enjoying the environment in which you spend your downtime when you're not at the office. And so this is a way that we can help individualize wellness needs for employees. What you see here in this chart is basically the 5 elements of wellness: career, community, physical, social, financial. We see a ranking of 1 to 5 on importance and a ranking of 1 to 5 on energy. And what you ask employees to do here is to pick a number for each of these 5 aspects. You cannot repeat the same number. So every single one of these gets a number, an individual number from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and do the same thing on the energy side. When you do that kind of assessment, what you get is a chart that looks like this. So basically what you can see here is that this individual rated careers 5 in importance and 3 in energy. So they have additional capacity. They're basically they're not actually expending the same amount of energy as they are thinking this thing is important. Community, their back basically is a wash, 1-on-1. Physical is important, but they're not expending the same amount of energy on that. But in social and financial, you can see here that there's operating at a deficit. And so basically they think social is only a 2 in importance, but they're putting 4 of their energy in that, maybe because they're already feeling burnt out and they need that social connection to improve their well-being. And also on financial, you see its importance is 4, but they're spending a lot of energy focusing on that. That also puts you at a deficit in terms of your wellness. And so this is the kind of simple calibration tool that a manager could use with their employees, HR could do as an organizational survey, and you could really begin to understand and individualize where every single person is in terms of what's most important to them and how are they allocating their energy towards those things that are important to them. The next thing is that wellness must be normed organizationally. And what are norms? Well, first of all, busyness and productivity are not the same thing. We've talked about the fact that 1 in 4 workers feel burnout at work. We understand also that workers feel that they have an amount of work they describe as overwhelming. And, one thing I want to say here is that checking email is not work. Checking email does not count as work. Work is about moving the ball forward. It's about pushing boulders up the mountain. It's about achieving the next destination, the next level. Checking emails does not fit the description for that type of work. So what are norms? Norms are basically a set of agreements about how team members will work together and how the group will work overall. And these agreed upon behaviors allow the team to increase its collective performance through healthy debate and clarity of purpose and roles. So when you know how things are done and what is valued, then it allows you to lean into these spaces and not have to spend so much time stressing and worrying, as you saw on the earlier slide, because you know exactly how things operate. There's no guessing. There's no mental effort being allocated towards trying to understand or translate what's happening in an environment. It's very clear and it's very documented in what we call the social contract. So the elements of an effective organizational social contract is around making sure the meetings are as effective as possible, making sure people understand how we make and document decisions. What is our prioritization process? How do we communicate and align priorities? How do we effectively resolve internal conflicts, hold each other accountable, and provide feedback? And lastly, when do we celebrate success and how do we do this? So this is a simple version of an organizational contract. And a lot of the work that I do is doing workshops to help teams define and really dig deep and understand how they're going to do this. Because once they do this, they can then begin to move into actually high performance. So some final takeaways for you watching this lecture. First of all, you need to understand it takes a total ecosystem to make sure that we make sure that workplace wellness happens. It's not just one thing that's going to make it happen. You have to have a positive culture, an energizing environment, effective servant leader managers, strong working relationships, job satisfaction, and a healthy lifestyle. All these things come together in terms of workplace well-being. And my final tips for you in terms of how to reap the benefits of a healthy workplace, which are increased productivity levels, reduced staff turnover, reduced absenteeism, improving company image, and increasing employee morale. We have to make sure that we protect employee wellness by policies and practices, that we ensure we have servant leaders at all levels within the organization, we emphasize inclusive culture principles, and we incentivize managers on wellness scores. So hopefully you can see that there are tangible things we can do in our organizations to make sure that we have healthier workplaces where well-being is actually being fostered and promoted. And for more information, you can please connect with me online, omar@omarlharris.com. omarlharris.com is my website, or you can connect with me on LinkedIn, Omar L. Harris. Thank you very much.
name is Dr. Sandra Wall-Williams, and I'd like to welcome you to Take the Leap, 5 signals that it is time to move on. I am a board level and C-level leader. I'm a keynote speaker, corporate and nonprofit board director, a professor, an author, and a content specialist in the areas of leadership and mentorship. These have all moved me to start the Next Level of Success Academy, where I work with women who are emerging and established women in leadership through individual group and mentorship programs and leadership training and speaking. Now, the question I'd like to review with you today is the following. How do I know when it's time to leave and move on? There's nothing more frustrating than being in a place where you feel stuck. You know it's time to move on, but you're waiting on those signals that it's time to go. You know that you're not in the right place, but again, you're waiting on something or someone to say, maybe you should move on. So let's answer the question that could impact your emotional, your physical, your health, and your well-being by answering this question. What are some of the signals that it's time for me to leave and move on? Now, this could be related to a job, or it could be related to relationships. Now, let me give you my story. I was the senior vice president for the 58 community colleges in North Carolina. I absolutely loved my job. I loved what I did. I loved the speaking. I loved the presenting to boards. I loved the technology. I was in charge of technology. So I loved the content that I was presenting because I saw that it was helping the colleges and changing lives. But there was something missing. And at this point, I really didn't know what it was. I was speaking at colleges, universities, commencements, both 4-year and 2-year commencements. And I really, really enjoyed that. But again, there was something missing. I was the alumni of the year for my beloved North Carolina State University. I was North Carolina's Technology Woman of the Year. I was getting awards, I was getting accolades, but you know what? Yes, something was still missing until I had this experience right here. I made a presentation at a women's conference in Philadelphia. And at that conference, I was able to see light bulbs of women go off, and they learned, and their lives were changed. They were able to go back to their jobs and make differences. I could actually see where I was making a difference. And then I had my answer. I needed to know what are the signals that I needed to leave. And I found these signals as I made this presentation. And that's what I'm going to share with you now. What are the 5 signals to move on? Signal number 1, there is no growth. You are experiencing no growth, meaning you may be too good for the position that you're at right now. You have outgrown your current position. You can't see where you're going. You're like, there is no future for me here. You maybe can see where you're going, but it's not at the current job or the current relationship that you may be experiencing. Or there's no professional development. If you're experiencing any of these, then this is a signal that there's no growth where you are, and it may be time for you to move on. Signal number 2, you have no motivation, meaning you're not inspired, you're not fulfilled. You may even be comfortable. You see no benefits or rewards in your work. You no longer want to seize opportunities where you are. And this list can go on because there could be all types of things that don't motivate you. And when you're in a position or an environment where you're not motivated, then that will impact your health and well-being. Signal number 3, where you are is draining you and not sustaining you. Now, to show you what I mean by this is this quote. When you're giving more to the job than the job is giving to you, that's a signal that it's time to move on. When you give so much to the job by staying late or working on holidays or constantly working, or the job is constantly in your mind, and that job isn't giving something more than a paycheck back to you, then that's a signal that it's time for you to move on. Signal number 4, the environment is toxic. This one is a no-brainer. If you're experiencing a bad boss, unprofessional colleagues, maybe your opinions aren't taken seriously, you don't have any work-life balance, or maybe even you're physically falling sick all the time, maybe people don't respect your boundaries at work, or there are inconsistent rules between you and other employees, you know what? This is a toxic environment. I've experienced it. You may be experiencing it now. But if you are experiencing a toxic environment, let me tell you, it is time. And that is a major signal that it is time to move on. Signal number 5. You know there's more for you. This is where I was. I know that there was more for me. What I was doing was great, but it wasn't fulfilling. I knew that my sweet spot was supporting women and helping them through mentorship, using all of the lessons and the leadership that I had learned in my current position. So, what are the signals? No growth, no motivation, draining and not sustaining. Your environment is toxic, or you know there's more for you. Here is something I want you to remember. When you think about whether or not it's time for you to move on, remember, go to grow, meaning you may have to get out to gain real opportunities to win. Go to grow. Now, let me give you 3 what I call my leap strategies, and I'll share with you what leap means in just a minute. But let me give you 3 leap strategies that as you go to grow, you can do these 3 things. LEAP is an acronym for launch exceptionally into your accurate position. So if you're going to get out of an environment so that you can leap into your new, then you want to launch exceptionally into your accurate position. So what can you do? Number 1, elevate your mindset. When you elevate your mindset, then results will follow. 2, elevate your environment. It may be time for new relationships or new environments or even a new workplace. The last one, elevate your people. Now is a time when you need mentorship. You need people that can pour into you and guide you and give you advice based on their experience so they can help you to move forward. Remember, launch exceptionally into your accurate position. When you leave an environment, because it's time to go, you want to leap into your next environment. Now, I want to give you a free gift so that when it's your opportunity to move forward, you will take the leap. Please use this QR code so that you're able to download this free ebook and journal so that you will have the content you need to be able to take the leap and move to your next opportunity to win. Again, my name is Dr. Sandra Wall-Williams. I thank you for this opportunity to bring to you Take the Leap, 5 signals that it's time for you to move on.